Hey y'all, what's up? Let's get into this March wrap up. Let's get into it. So right now I am on my story graph profile on the desktop. My first read of the month was a love song by Ricki Wilde. I gave this a 3.75. Let me just say that for my ratings, one is a DFN. Two is I really didn't like it, but I kept reading it because type of thing. Three, it was a solid book, but here are some points. Four is I absolutely loved it, hands down. And five is that I loved it absolutely 100%. And the difference between four and five is with five, I couldn't put it down. I was itching to finish it. So, a love song by Ricki Wilde. My review, the only reason why it didn't bump up to four is that I wasn't itching to read it, but I really like this book, y'all. I really liked it 100%. So what do we the description Ricki Wilde has many talents, but being a Wilde isn't one of them. So Ricki Wilde comes from a family where everyone is highly educated, um motivated, has a lot of different achievements, and she just kind of wants to follow her own path. She doesn't want to do what her parents and her sisters are doing, which kind of makes her the black sheep of the family. So she moves, she starts her own business, and then we jump back and forth between like the 1920s and present. This is a romance, and it goes back and forth with that. And I loved it. I'm not usually a romance person. I feel like romances are boring most of the time. But this was 3.75. I loved it. Next, we have Under the Influence by Kimberly Brown. I gave this one a 2.5. This was set up to be, in my opinion, a friends to lovers. I mean, enemies to lovers. And I really didn't think it was enemy in. I loved the beginning, and which was a past. And then when we jumped into the future, I liked the setup. The main character is the girl. What is her name? She is a Mayeli. She is a like reputation consultant for the NFL, and she had a thing with Alana's back in the day. Didn't end up too well. I'm not gonna give spoilers. Didn't end up too well. Now we're in the present, and she has to represent him. So that's the enemies to lovers part. But I feel like the first time she saw him, she really tried to be mad, but the enemies part didn't hit for me. So I didn't feel like there was any place to go when we went from enemies to lovers for the arc, because the enemies part didn't hit. There's some character development in there that went pretty good. The love story, there's a lot of spice up in there too. So I gave it a 2.5. I thought it was okay. The enemies to lovers part didn't hit for me, and that's the major reason for the my rating. And then Girls Like Us. I gave this a 3, and this is audio. If it's a square cover, that means I read it audio. If it's a rectangle cover, that means it's ebook. Girls Like Us, 3 stars. I like this book. I thought it was pretty solid. It's a classic crime fiction, like solve the murder, and then that's it. There's no thriller. It's this is the murder. Go ahead and solve it. Following the main character, she moved away from the small town. She ended up being in FBI, the behavior analysis unit. She came back because her father passed, and then stuff started happening. Everything started unraveling. Did I guess who it was? Not really. Like, the person who ended up doing all the stuff was in kind of my short list, but I wasn't 100% for sure that this. Let me keep this on. I wasn't 100% sure that this was the person. It didn't get a higher rating for me just because there's no thriller aspect for me, and I am very much a fast-paced, stuff happening type of reader, 110%. So this is Girls Like Us. Let me see if this is going to take a long time to load, because I really like this aspect of Storygraph. So, do I agree that it was fast paced thriller? No, not at all. It was medium pace. I don't think there was too much thrill. There was definitely the crime, the sex trafficking aspect. Not that I dislike that. Um, it's just that it wasn't enough thriller for me. And then I moved on to I invited her in. Y'all, this book was crazy. Let's see what the personalized. It says this book is ideal for readers who relish psychologically intense narratives. 100%. I'm gonna put this on the description, y'all. This book was crazy. So, Mel and Abby, Melanie and Abigail, they were friends when they were in college. Melanie got pregnant, and so she dropped out, took care of her kid, all that stuff. Abigail went on, very successful, married the rich guy, yada yada. Now we're like 20 or so years later, and Abigail is getting divorced. She comes back to talk to Melanie. And once Abigail comes back into the picture, y'all, that book is crazy. It's just stuff is happening. It's set up to be kind of slow to medium pace. So in the beginning, I was like, I'm really not gonna like this. But the one thing I didn't like is that it's set up as a first person POV, but it's written in third person. So Melanie's chapter is first person POV written in first person using I. But everybody else's chapter was their POV, but written in third person, written from Melanie's perspective. And it was that part I really didn't like 100%. But Abigail comes back, and it turns out she had this long, intricate plan that she did step by step. Oh my God, y'all, this book is crazy. Stuff just kept happening. Stuff just kept happening. And as I'm reading, I'm like, oh my gosh, Melanie, are you crazy? Like, why are you letting her? Oh my goodness, this is a good read, y'all. I picked it up from the library. The cover drew me in, and I ended up really liking it. Okay, next, Joan of a Thousand Years. C.J. Archer is my comfort. That's the cover. It's an audiobook because it's a square. Archer is my comfort author because I do not like, this is a historical, slow to medium pace fantasy. I don't like that, y'all. I don't like slow pace, but it's something. I don't like slow paced. I don't like cozy. That's not my thing. But there's something about C.J. Archer. Something about C.J. Archer that really pulls me in. So this is the Glass and Steel Library. This is book 5 in this series. And this series is a spin-off series of the Steel and Glass series, which is like I think the 1800s in Europe. Where in this the spinoff, magicians are now able to be out in the public to show their what they make, to show their powers without persecution. And that's something that newly happens. The woman who kind of spearheaded that was the main character in the original series, and now we're following her son and his love story. Y'all, I love CJ Archer's books. I love the Glass and Steel. I love the Glass Library 110%. It's just, I loved it. It's very cozy. The romance is a slow burn. There's some thrill. There's not a lot of suspense, maybe some. It's like all the markers that is like, no, I shouldn't like it, but I love it. I love it. Love this series. Love this author. And then we have Blood at the Root. So Blood at the Root, I gave it 3 stars. This is a physical book that I read. I got it from the library. Let's see my review. Oh, I didn't write a review on here. So I know that I really enjoyed the book. One thing that I did not enjoy about this book, not that I didn't enjoy, but this book was very reference focused, very much so. So the university, it got a lot of comparisons to HBCUs. He made a lot of TV and like celebrity and like kind of like down the way Black American culture references. And as a Black American, I got all the stuff. And so visually in my mind, I built the world because I knew his references. However, this is very much written like by us for us. So I can see how someone who doesn't get the references, or even like my grandparents who didn't get some of the references just because they're not in my generation, had issues and troubles world building because he really didn't world build. He kind of used the references and to world build, like use the references, and then the world building was on us as the readers instead of him doing that world building. But with that aside, character arc, amazing. Characters is lovable. I mean, Malik was he was kind of being a little hard headed every once in a while. He's been a little hard headed. He was kind of irritating me, like, bro, you don't just, I get it. I get it. Like, once you have that trust broken in people, but he was irritating me just a little bit. Just a little bit. He was irritating me. But I really enjoyed the book. It was a good read. It was a physical book, so it took me a little bit longer than an audio book does. But highly recommend. I know he has book 2 out, and I want to read book 2 before I decide whether I'm gonna buy them from my shelf. You guys know that's what I do. 99% of my books are like library books, Kindle Unlimited, stuff like that. And if I love the book, I buy it from my shelf. Okay, we're getting there. The Vicious Fae. I picked up this book not knowing that it was in the Solaria world. And it very much is. I gave this a 3.5. It very much is in the Solaria world. I've read all of Zodiac Academy. I've read it, and then I've read the spinoff from the boys' point of view. I did not know that this. I seen Faye, and I seen the authors, and I picked it up from the library. But this is in the world of Solaria. It says like 5 years before the events of Zodiac happened, and Caroline and Suzanne have a style. This is very much into their style. I first recognized Gabriel's name, and I was like, oh my gosh, Gabe. And so, and as I read through the book, more pieces started to connect to me, and that just helped me more get invested in the book. But this is very much their style of book. I really enjoyed it. So like the trigger warnings and stuff, because they write a certain type of way. Caroline and Suzanne write a certain type of way. So this is high spice. This has polyamory. I think that's how you say it, like multiple partners. There's a little bit of like the bully violence. So this is very much their writing style. So if that is not your thing with their previous writings, then you're not going to enjoy this. But I enjoyed it. Next, we had Fangirl. This was the banned book of the month for my book club. And Under the Influence. That was the regular book of the month for my book club, and this was the banned book. This is rated YA, but the characters are freshmen in college. To me, college is not YA at all. And so during book club, we also brought up the fact that the new genre of new adult, which they're trying to push in. At first, I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Either you're a young adult or you're adult. I don't see a need for an 18 to 22. Like, that's adult. But I understand somebody brought up the point where, like, they still say they're teenagers because they're so young. But technically, they're over 18 because they're adults. But since they're 18, the themes in the book get real adult, real raunchy, right? And so that area of new adult gives the people a category, the authors a category, so that the books don't get banned. And I agree with that 100% because banning books don't make no sense, right? Don't make no sense. Because if we're not going to ban problematic authors, then we shouldn't be banning. Okay, that's a different video though. So this book followed the two sisters. They were twins. One sister was like, yes, college, let's go. And the other sister was like, wait, I don't want anything to change. There was some trauma things that happened. Their mother had left when they were younger, and that played in part into the different. Their mother left while they was younger, and that played in part. It played into their different personality, and it really follows Kath and her character arc. I really don't think she had a huge character arc. I gave it a 2.5 because really nothing was really happening. There was like just the type of reader I am, and just nothing was really happening. Kath had a little character arc, but not as big as I felt like it could have been. Overall, like it was alright. It wasn't my favorite. I wasn't itching to read it. Okay, Unraveling the Beast. So, Unraveling the Beast and Awakening the Beast. These two are book one and book two. These two are book one and book two of a duology. This is dark. Dark, 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 dark. Sexual content, torture, toxic relationship, 110%. This is dark. Dark, dark, dark. Let me just say that over and over again, y'all. It's dark. So you've been warned. This book follows Ren and Arlo. It's a mafia dark romance. He's in the mafia. She comes in as the nanny, and he's very aggressive, dominating. Like, I'm gonna tie you to the tree. It goes there, guys. So in this first book, it's kind of like just the beginning of their relationship. Um, where she comes in, she really bonds with his kid. He has dealt with some stuff in the past. He lost his wife, and so he's like harder than usual. Like him in the mafia, he's known as the Skinner. So you have that violent side of it, but then when there's the two of them, the sexual side is very dark, very aggressive. It was just some points on there where I'm like, oh my god, for me. And like I also write similar themes like that, and even I was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. So it definitely went there. And then something happened at the end of the first book, which brings us to the second book. And then the second book really follows, um that gives a spoiler. The second book, you start off with following Ren. Something happens and she ends up being the head of the family, in charge of everything. And like her, that kind of arc is like sped up extra, extra fast. That's one thing that I didn't like about the series in a whole, is that her arc didn't quite build the development. She was kind of doing stuff, and then all of a sudden she had to get to the top and then like go over like extra, extra quickly. Overall, I liked it. It was a solid love story somewhere buried up in there. One thing I did like about the book, where I know that some people said that they didn't, is after stuff happened, they got together. You would think the love part was over. The book wasn't over. Like there was other plot points happening in the book besides the romance, and I like that about it. Okay, Sweet Nightmare. So I know this is like a spinoff to another series. I haven't read that first series. So where to? I'm gonna keep it right here. This was your classic white young adult fantasy, dark academia. Loved it. It's my type of thing. My type of thing. You have all the different supernaturals in the boarding school figuring shit out. My type of book. Very solid. I loved it. Like I don't have much to say. Like I loved it. Good book. It's classic dark academia. It was medium paced. The characters are the plot. The characters are the plot. There's not like character development like in a plot point happening. So like, is it character strong or is it plot driven? It's the characters 100%. What they're doing, how they're doing, their interactions with each other, what they're missing, what they gain. It's definitely character focused. There's little character development, but this is the first in a series. And then I immersion read this, like I was listening and reading at the same time, and I enjoyed it. Mile High. This is a romance that I didn't think I was gonna like because I don't like romances. So let me push this down a little bit. I gave it a 4 star. This is a dual POV. We follow Stevie and Xander. She's a flight attendant. He plays hockey. One of the big controversies surrounding this book is that the author is white. Stevie is supposed to be biracial, but there is not black and white biracial, but there is not a lot of evidence in the book to point to that. Like, you gotta be paying attention to know that her daddy is black. Like, because it's not clearly stated, and some people really didn't like it because the author, I guess, advertised it as a black romance. So, other than all of that stuff, I liked it. It was cute. I thought there was character development on both parts. I liked the steam. I liked the romance. I thought it was cute. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. Um, it was there was a point up in there where, because usually one thing I don't like about romances is the happily ever after, the predictability, and there was a point where I was like, what is this rated? Where is she gonna go? But ultimately, I thought it was cute and I really enjoyed it. My Temptation, I gave this 3 stars. Chloe annoyed. This is also a romance. Chloe annoyed the heck out of me. She annoyed Chloe in, what was the main character's name? Chloe more so, like the best friend, but the main character, I forget her name. It's not listed. She's annoying. The two, because her name's Chloe. Her name is, I don't remember. The best friend name is Chloe. They're both annoying. They're both annoying. There was no character development there. There was no arc there at all. Henley, he had some character development and stuff like that. I feel like it was a little rushed. It kind of happened towards the end, and that's where all of the development part happened. I think it spent too much time closer to the beginning. It was a solid romance. I didn't love it, didn't hate it. It was kind of mediocre in the middle for me. I do not like the type of series that each book in the series talks about a different character. So it's very unlikely that I'll read the rest of the series because, like, I don't want to read about the other guys on the street. It's just not my preferred style. Like, I kind of get attached to my characters. So, like, I want to follow those characters and not jump around. But it is a series. And then finally, my 14th book for March is Beast of War. This is the third in a trilogy. I gave it 4 stars. I really like this book. I really enjoyed the ending to this trilogy. The trilogy followed Kofi and Ekon as they went from one reality to another. There was to this adventure that took them into another reality. It's a medium paced. Whoa! All of these typos, I have to fix that. It's a medium paced adventure. There's romance, there's drama, high fantasy or mythology. Some of the words I didn't understand or I couldn't sound out right because different language, different pronunciations, and that kind of halted me a little bit. But once I got over that, like, I was fine. I just made it up in my head. However, it is that it came out in my head, that's how it was pronounced. The characters, there's character arc, there's character development. That was a major plot point. It got you right in there. It got you um, attached to the characters, and when they made mistakes, when they're up, when there's downs, you really felt it. I found myself scolding Kofi, like, girl, come on, every time something happened and she got like a little selfish up in there. I enjoyed it. It was well done. A great end to this trilogy. Highly recommend. And that's it, guys. That is my March TBR. I mean, my March wrap up. Let me see if I can pull up my graphic just real quick to show you. So I have this posted over on Lemon 8. Go follow me there to get these content, get this content. And this is just my graphics that Storygraph gives me. So my highest rated books was Mile High, Journal of a Thousand Years, and I invited her in, which was a romance, a cozy historical fantasy, and a thriller, like all over the place. Says I read 13. I read 14 books. I did this before it updated with The Beast of War. 3,598 pages over 64 hours. Here's my calendar of how long it took me to read said books. And then this is just the covers with the ratings. And like I said, if it's a square, I listened to it. If it's a rectangle, I read it. I'll see y'all next time. Oh, make sure to read the blog down below. Remember, I say different stuff than I write. I write different stuff than I say. There will be way more detail in the blog because that's me taking my time writing it out, and I don't have a script in front of me. There's no teleprompter for this video, so I was kind of just talking off the dome. So make sure you check out down below and leave some comments. I'll see